Hello everyone, my name is Alessandra Albano-Sellati, and for my first showcase in this class, centering on educational technology for engagement, I chose a lesson plan that focused on the water cycle. This lesson plan was created by a teacher named James from Chicago, Illinois, and was posted on commonsense.org. His lesson plan was relatively simple and engaging. It was to introduce children in grades 2 to 4 to the water cycle by exploring vocabulary, defining the separate stages, and then demonstrating their learning via a classroom experiment. Some of the lesson objectives were also very simple, were 1, understand and use new vocabulary relating to the water cycle. 2, explore the stages of the water cycle. 3, going off number 2 is to define the separate stages. Number 4 was to create a flow chart. Number 5, demonstrate the water cycle via an experiment. And number 6, wrapping it all up, was to overall have a comprehension of the water cycle for this classroom. This teacher actually used several different educational technology tools within his lesson plan. However, the one that stood out to me was everybody's personal favorite, Quizlet. Just to go over, just in case anybody doesn't know, Quizlet is an online resource that centers around the creation of simple learning tools that aid in studying. Many students of various grade levels, from high school to college to even younger, use this educational tool to create customizable flashcards that help them quiz themselves, and they can also interact with other students and the educator with options like Quizlet Live, which is still relatively new. So to demonstrate this tool, we are going to go to Quizlet, and we are going to create a small little Quizlet about the water cycle on ourselves. I'm going to go to the website. So it pops up. This is my account. We're going to go right to create. I'm going to go to study set. We don't want to do Quizlet Plus because we're poor college students. We're going to enter our title. Let's just say the water cycle stages. Gonna move on. So our first term, we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to go off the first. We're going to go off the 4 stages. Number 1 is evaporation. And then you come over here, you enter the definition over here. Water turns to gas, water vapor. Please excuse my inability to type. Sun. And we're just going to keep going like this. The second stage is convection. Therefore, meaning water turns water vapor back into liquid water. So number 3 is precipitation. We had lots of that a couple weeks ago. And precipitation, when water falls from the sky in the form of rain or snow, etc. We had lots of snow a couple days ago. And then our final stage, number 4, is collection. And that is when water fell from the sky, collects in bodies of water, lakes or becomes groundwater. As you can see, you have the option to add in a little image here. So let's try one. Let's put in this guy. So that was pretty simple. Nothing really too hard. We're going to hit create down here. All right. Do not feel like sharing this yet. We're going to go to learn. And this is just one of them. Okay, when water falls from the sky in the form of rain or snow, that would be precipitation. Shows you that you're right. So let's see when we choose something that is wrong. Water vapor turns to gas. Water vapor from the heat from the sun. Let's say that we know that this is going to be evaporation, but let's put convection. Tells you that you're wrong. We continue on. This shows some of our ISTE standards because it allows this app to show you feedback. But overall, very simple. I'm going to go back. We're going to explore the student standards and what Quizlet helps with that. We have the empowered learner. Quizlet informs you whenever you get a wrong choice when engaging in the learning or test feature, therefore it shows you feedback. It is also a creative communicator. When you use Quizlet to create virtual flashcards, you are creating an original work or responsibly repurposing information in order to complete the study sets. 1.7, which is the global collaborator. One of my favorite things about Quizlet is that you can share Quizlet with anybody that wants to log online, whether they're sitting right next to you in class, they're in a different city, they're in a different country, it doesn't matter. This just helps us with increased accessibility of information overall. Anybody with a computer can access this. Some of the ISTE educator standards include 2.4, which is collaborator. Teachers and students can all create Quizlet account together. You start from the ground up, and you can learn together how to navigate the tool. This helps in an overall, also digital citizenship manner. 2.5 is a designer. An educator can create a customized study set that the entire class can interact with. And this encourages that really the thing that we want, that active social learning environment. Number 2, Quizlet Live also helps with showing the assessment of data of the classroom as a whole that an educator can use to judge progress and to guide any further learning. Our UWL guidelines for engagement, we met recruiting interest and self-regulation. Students have control over how they learn, how they choose to test themselves, which is a definite optimization of individual choice and autonomy. Students are shown that when the answers they chose are correct or not. This feedback that we mentioned earlier, this allows them to self-assess their progress and therefore adjust their own personal motivation. Some of the questions that we had, let's talk about those. Does the technology allow students to focus on the assignment or activity with less distraction? Yes. Quizlet is that more interactive, modern day adaptation of the old way of creating physical flashcards in order to study. Quizlet increases this focus by offering multiple ways to study sets of information, such as those virtual flashcards, typing in answers, or answering audio prompts. These multiple forms of engagement can help keep easily distracted students focus on the task at hand because this keeps the studying varied and dynamic, which is very important. Does the technology motivate students to start the learning process of knowledge gathering? Yes. Quizlet semi-recently launched Quizlet Live, which is very close to Kahoot which is a game-based learning platform that allows students and educators to engage together. This option has that competitive twist that encourages students to become more involved and begin the learning process faster, as a lot of students, including myself, really don't like to lose, especially in front of people. This is an added benefit, however, obviously don't take it too far. This option also keeps students as a classroom overall directly engaged in the learning process by just looking at the information together. Does the technology create a shift in the behavior of students where they go from being passive to active social learners? Also, yes. Simply creating a study set, competing in a Quizlet live session, it takes these students that may have just sat there and zoned out from passive to active because they're engaging in the information directly. It goes beyond simply just listening to a lecture, creating physical flashcards, completing a worksheet, and with those multiple methods for studying, again, we're dynamic, appealing options that keep the learner focused. These are some of my sources. Overall, I am just a huge fan of Quizlet. It's been one of the greatest things that I have encountered since coming to college. We did not really have Quizlet when I was growing up in high school. I think one of the downfalls could simply be some of that adjustment period to the technology itself. Figuring out exactly what it is. Everybody has a different adjustment period. Another downfall is that a lot of those really helpful options are behind a paywall, which I personally think should be removed, but capitalism is alive and well, even when it comes to education. But overall, the free options for Quizlet are extremely beneficial in helping study. And that is all I have.